Please remain calm and clear the building.
At a top robotics company in Japan this week, 4 robots being developed for military applications killed 29 humans in the lab. The scariest part is that lab workers deactivated 2 of the robots, took apart the 3rd, but the 4th robot began restoring itself and somehow connected to an orbiting satellite to download information about how to rebuild itself even more strongly than before. And this next sentence is a quote. "This is serious shit, Linda, but you're never going to hear about this in the news. The robotics company has too much to lose, and governments want IA robot soldiers." Close quote. I immediately thought of what happened the month before at the July 15, 2017 National Governors Association meeting in Providence, Rhode Island. 30 governors gathered at the final session to hear Elon Musk, CEO and founder of Tesla and SpaceX, talk about the future with Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe. Musk repeated a warning that he has been making for some time, that the development of robots, androids, and cyborgs with human-like artificial intelligence is, quote, "a fundamental risk to the existence of human civilization," close quote. And here now is an excerpt from what Elon Musk told the governors.
Are robots going to take our jobs, everybody's jobs in the future? Or how much do you see artificial intelligence coming into the workplace?
Well, first of all, I think on the artificial intelligence front, I have exposure to the very most cutting edge AI, and I think people should be really concerned about it. I keep sounding the alarm bell, but until people see like robots going down the street killing people, like they don't know how to react.
It's on you to protect yourself. That's why we trust and personally use Aura, today's sponsor. Aura does all the heavy lifting to keep you safe online. They take action against these data brokers and companies who are selling your personal information. Going after them directly, you don't have to lift a finger. Aura handles it. But that's not all. Here's where it gets even more serious. Aura doesn't just stop there. They continuously monitor the dark web for any trace of your personal data. If they find your information floating around in places it shouldn't be, Aura will alert you immediately. They'll let you know fast if anyone is trying to use that data to access your credit accounts or even drain bank accounts. And if the worst happens to you, Aura has you covered. They offer up to $5 million in identity theft insurance to help you recover if someone gets a hold of your information and tries to do real damage. Don't wait until it's too late. Head over to our link, aura.com/anonymous, to try Aura free for 14 days. That's plenty of time for Aura to find out if any of your personal data is exposed and start protecting you from these threats.
I think we should be really concerned about AI. AI is a rare case where I think we need to be proactive in regulation instead of reactive. Because I think by the time we are reactive in AI regulation, it's too late. AI is a fundamental risk to the existence of human civilization, in a way that car accidents, airplane crashes, faulty drugs, or bad food were not. They were harmful to a set of individuals within society, of course, but they were not harmful to society as a whole. AI is a fundamental existential risk for human civilization, and I don't think people fully appreciate that.
Elon Musk, did any of you see his rocket launch? I mean, this guy has a lot of intelligence and he has a lot of guts. And when he makes a warning like this, as he's been making for the last 12 months, I think the entire planet should take Elon Musk very seriously. By August 21st, the Washington Post headlined, Elon Musk calls for ban on killer robots before weapons of terror are unleashed. And I immediately thought he knows about what happened in the robotics company in Japan. Quote, Tesla chief executive Elon Musk says that artificial intelligence is more of a risk to the world than is North Korea, offering humanity a stark warning about the perilous rise of autonomous machines. Now the tech billionaire has joined more than 100 robotic and artificial intelligence experts, calling on the United Nations to ban one of the deadliest forms of such machines, autonomous weapons, close quote. In an open letter to the United Nations Convention on Certain Conventional Weapons, Elon Musk and 116 other AI intelligence experts, including Apple's Alphabet, wrote, lethal autonomous weapons threaten to become the third revolution in warfare. Once developed, they will permit armed conflict to be fought at a scale greater than ever, and at time scales faster than humans can comprehend. These can be weapons of terror, weapons that despots and terrorists use against innocent populations, and weapons hacked to behave in undesirable ways. We do not have long to act. Once this Pandora's box is opened, it will be hard to close. We therefore implore the high contracting parties, meaning in the UN, to find a way to protect us all from these dangers, close quote. 30 nation representatives signed the open letter, including China, Israel, Russia, Britain, South Korea, and France. And then it was made public in an international AI conference in Melbourne, Australia. The next day, on August 22nd, 2017, the UK Telegraph headlined, quote, hackers turn family robots into weapons and spying tools, close quote. Recently, security researchers at the large cybersecurity global corporation IOA Active in Seattle, Washington, demonstrated how company technicians hacked into an IO Active robot and turned it into a domestic spy that would also do violence on command, and demonstrated with a screwdriver wielding home helper robot. What they did in the demonstration, you're seeing a freeze frame, and it's the right side, the robot has coming out attached to it a screwdriver, and they were able to just change the coding just a little bit in the software, and this robot began attacking with the screwdriver. Warning has also come from Lucas Appa, the principal security consultant at Iowa Active in Seattle, Washington. He told the Telegraph, quote, even non-military robots could be weaponized to cause harm. After all, they are not toys. They are increasingly capable computers with arms, legs, or wheels, which will only get bigger, stronger, faster with each new generation, close quote. What motivation will the robots have not to act on their own, independent of their human owners and handlers? On July 18, 2017, U.S. Air Force General Paul J. Selva, Vice Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, testified during a Senate Armed Services Committee hearing on Capitol Hill in Washington, seeking reappointment. General Selva was asked what he thought of the DoD directive that requires a human operator to be kept in the decision-making process when robotic weapons are used to take human life. And the reason this is coming up is that already Japan and some other countries are using military weaponized robots to patrol borders. They are autonomous. There's no human anywhere in those border chains. And this is why this has come up in the United States and Congress. And here was what General Selva answered to the Congressional Committee. Quote, I don't think it is reasonable for us to put robots in charge of whether or not we take a human life, close quote. This is a big deal, you guys. This is really coming down the pike fast. Weaponized robotics is advancing rapidly without nations organizing and coordinating the vital regulations that will be necessary to guard against what happened in Japan in August that cannot be made public, and I think every human on this planet should know that 29 people died in a lab trying to make a weaponized and military robot soldiers. So I'm sharing this with you, but I would like, as a journalist, to give you the hard person, the hard document. And you can see in this demonstration how difficult this is. The communications, the New York Times, the Washington Post, I play by the same rules as they do. And you don't want to make a dramatic statement, but I know the person. I've met him. He's given me very reliable information. I am convinced that 29 humans died in that lab in this past summer when 4 robots went nuts and they had a hard time controlling it. And we are being left out, and Elon Musk, in between his words, that's exactly what he's saying. He said, unless robots go down the street killing people, this is all ephemeral, philosophical, geeky tech discussion. And I'm standing in front of you today because I really care about which path this planet goes. And don't you all have a sense that we really truly are at a branch in a road? And to the left, it feels fascist and militarized and roboticized, and somehow humanity, Homo sapien, will be the lowest on the priority on that path. But on the other path would be for people everywhere to have this knowledge, to know what robots are capable of doing, that are militarized to be soldiers, and start having international conferences to say, this is the last chance that Homo sapiens have to predict, to control, and to guide where the Earth is going to go. And I'm sure you all feel, as I do, that in the United States right now, looking at what is happening in Congress, we don't have the ability to come to a consensus on much of anything, let alone the international community. And yet, Elon Musk, Stephen Hawking, and others are saying this is the last chance we have. We are facing an existential threat. Already, in some of the Earth's war zones, such as the demilitarized zone between South and North Korea, guard robots provide security. South Korea military is using the SGR-A1 made by Samsung that is working as an armed sentry along the 160-mile-long border between North and South Korea. Those SGRs, guard robots, as they're called, are the first commercial, but so effective, first commercial AI robot, and they have autonomous, no humans in the communication chain. They have autonomous capabilities in surveillance, tracking, firing guns, voice recognition. They can kill anything that they decide that is in front of them that needs to be killed. I hope this is sinking in. This is happening right now on the planet. And when you read information about the SGR, and you read some of what Samsung has written about it, the question is, how many of these SGRs are in operation? And the answer you will get is, it cannot be stated because the number is, quote, highly classified, close quote. Next, it is expected that the SGR-A1 robots will be installed not only on national borders, but in airports, power plants, oil storage bases, and military bases. As Elon Musk and others point out, autonomous guard robots and weapons can cross a moral threshold where the intelligent machines could have open season on humans, perceived by the robot sentry to be a threat. Human Rights Watch adds, quote, "The humanitarian and security risks would outweigh any possible military benefits. Critics dismissing these concerns depend on speculative arguments about the future of technology and the false presumption that technical advances can address the many dangers posed by these future militarized AI weapons," close quote. At the same mid-July time that Elon Musk was warning the governors in Rhode Island, the UK Daily Mail headline, quote, "U.S. military reveals $65 million funding for matrix projects to put human brains directly into a computer," close quote. Overseeing this new research is the U.S. Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, also known as DARPA, which says its goal is, quote, "to develop an implantable system able to provide precision communication between the brain and the digital world," close quote. DARPA will distribute the $65 million for research at Brown University, Columbia University, the Seeing and Hearing Foundation, the John B. Pierce Laboratory, Paradromics, Inc., and the University of California, Berkeley. 4 of the research teams will focus on vision and 2 will focus on hearing and speech. As afraid as Elon Musk is about the existential risk that weaponized artificial intelligence is to humankind, he is enthusiastic about developing artificial intelligence for what he calls, and it's beginning now to be, you can look this phrase up and you'll find it all over in the web, it's called human enhancement. And he is founder of a new company called Neuralink, Neural, meaning neurons in the brain. The research there is to link the human brain with a machine interface by creating micron-sized devices. Micron, you're getting down to into the cell level, that can do human genetic engineering at the nanotech level to repair damaged brains and body parts and to provide technological enhancements such as enhanced memory, enhanced communication, enhanced senses, multidimensional thinking, and extending the human body's lifetime. And then what have we moved into? Human cyborgs. Neuralink was registered in California as a medical research company last July 2017, and Musk plans on funding the company mostly by himself. His goal, his personal goal, would help all of humanity. But the people who are understanding, if you are going down to the cell level and below in a human body, and that you have forces that can hack, just like they're hacking banks, just like they're hacking, the robots hacked themselves to murder humans, what in the world would happen if you could hack miniature nano material going into human bodies? A cyborg is a being with both organic and biomechanical body parts. Think combining yourself with biomachine parts that will give you strength, endurance, clear thinking all of the time, persisting at high energy with little or no sleep because you wouldn't be dependent solely upon the condition of your body's organic DNA, your cell health, your blood flow through the heart and lungs. More machine-like humans that don't decline with age or wear out and wouldn't be susceptible to temperature and atmosphere changes would actually be much better and preferable for space travel compared to frail human Homo sapien bodies. The ultimate irony would be if humanity on Earth sets about to create space-traveling cyborgs that are supposed to work for humans, but instead, they become a self-perpetuating force that replaces humans. That's probably in Elon Musk's thinking when he warns that AI weaponization of robots poses a potential existential threat to all life on Earth. All life on Earth, not just to humans. One of the possible future human enhancement technologies that sticks out in relationship to the human abduction syndrome connected to alien intelligences and their interactions with Homo sapien on Earth is called mind uploading. This is a new phrase. You can find it on the web. It's a cutting-edge speculation that human scientists so far have never done, but here is how mind uploading is defined by Wikipedia. Quote, the hypothetical process so far of transferring and uploading or copying a conscious mind from a brain to a non-biological substrate by scanning and mapping a biological brain in detail and copying its state into a computer system or another computational device, close quote. They're experimenting with this right now. Based on my investigations of human abductees, I have listened to hypnosis sessions and interviewed many people who talk exactly about having their mind taken out by an alien being and then put back with added information. This was a 1984 hypnosis session with a commercial artist who was driving with his wife when suddenly a cerulean blue beam of light surrounded their car and they were lifted up from a Colorado highway near Longmont, north of Denver. It was Thanksgiving week of 1980. Both remembered consciously looking down as their car rose, seeing the tops of the trees below them. And then the car was lowered into a forest. Both felt compelled in their minds to get out of the car and walk toward a craft glowing in pale yellow light and resting on what looked like, the husband said, curved erector set legs. In an opening on the side of the disc-shaped craft was a tall, hairless humanoid wearing a long, dark blue robe with a raised collar. The couple both were drawn. They said they could not resist to walk toward the tall, handsome humanoid. But when they got into the craft, they were both disturbed, even felt tricked. That is their word. We felt tricked. That instead of the blue-caped humanoid who had invited them into the craft, that instead they were confronted by this gray-skinned, large-headed being wearing a goldish leotard-fitting suit with a strange, large, double-layered collar, quite different than the tall humanoid in the sweeping blue cape. The husband said under hypnosis, quote, they've got big heads. They aren't like we are. Somebody's talking to me, but it's like they're picking my mind, like I don't have any control. My brain, it's like there's a tunnel that goes through my mind to theirs. My head is gone or is going, almost like a shaft through my head, something with my brain to his. I don't know if it goes to him, connects it somehow. Our minds are connected. It's like a tube, maybe it's light. It's like a gray light, gray-brown light, brownish gray. It's like everything's pulled out of my head. It's like a waterfall, and then everything is gone. There's a terrible sound, but I can't tell what it is, only it's piercing, high-pitched, terahertz frequency type stuff. It's coming from my head. It's like I can see all my thoughts like goo. Everything in my mind is stripped. They've got the whole thing. They've just pulled everything right out of me. Close quote. The husband was then in the hypnosis session. I was there. The husband was completely silent for a few minutes, and the man doing the hypnosis, Richard Sigismund, got worried. He actually tapped me and said, I don't know what's happening here. And I think that if I recall, I think we figured that he was totally silent, would not respond to any cues, wouldn't respond to anything that was going on in the outside for almost 10 minutes. And then, on his own, the husband began to whisper at first. We had to lean forward very close just to even understand. It was like he was coming back from hyperspace. And then his voice slowly returned to near normal as he described what the alien being or beings put in his mind. and was recorded during that hypnosis session. Quote, "There's more to it all than anybody knows. There's more to life, more to the world, there's more to everything than anybody knows. There are more dimensions, things are coexisting. There are other dimensions, more than 3 dimensions. Everywhere it all works together. Everything coexists. There are different dimensions that we cannot go into. And these beings want to know about us, people here on Earth." Close quote. But is the alien long-time interest and manipulation of Homo sapien because they genetically manipulated already evolving primates into the different standing up models of humanoids on Earth, and they have continued to monitor us secretly behind the scenes while waiting for what? The concept that we humans are someone else's experiment, that Earth is like one big laboratory to mix and match genes for all kinds of life form generations, and tests links to the Elon Musk warning that we're right on the brink now of our own experiment with making artificially intelligent robots and cyborgs that we will program, we will monitor, we will keep tweaking with advancements that serve human needs, not the robots. Will our robotic creations turn on us and kill us, as happened in that Japanese robotics company this past August 2017? And what does it mean about the ethics, the agenda of an alien intelligence that I think without any question is who made the evolving primates on Earth, including the current model, those of us in this room right now? When machines become stronger and smarter than the biophysical life forms that made them, what would ever keep those advanced intelligent machines subservient to lesser mortal humanity? And that is what Elon Musk is worried about. That same idea of a prime intelligence making different clones or hybrids or androids or cyborgs to meet many different needs and missions came up indirectly in an alleged briefing for the newly elected US President Ronald Reagan in an alleged high classified meeting at Camp David, March 6 to 8, 1981. Directing the meeting with insiders from the CIA, NSA, DIA was Reagan's appointee for CIA Director William Colby. A transcript of the alleged Camp David discussion was reprinted at the Serpo website in 2007. I shared a copy with a Washington, D.C. contact who has helped me through the years. He told me he knows there was such a briefing with the new President Reagan at Camp David about UFOs and ETs. And he confirmed that the Colorado couple were dealing with what our government calls EBENs, an acronym for extraterrestrial biological entities. And today I can add the probability that EBA-1, as they're called types, depicted in the charcoal on the left that interacted with the husband and the wife, are advanced enough in genetics to manufacture EBA type 2s on the right to do work on this planet Earth and throughout our solar system to other solar systems and throughout the Milky Way galaxy. And this was described for President Reagan in the government briefing. EBA 2s, trying to teach human scientists about their EBEN technology, they use a completely different set of physical laws than ours. Quote, "Our physics would not apply in their civilization, but theirs can apply in ours." The implication I wanted to know, does that mean that they are from a different galaxy, what would cause physics to be different in different parts of this universe? I've heard this before. I do not understand. I talked with a man a few years ago who said he sat with Carl Sagan, the astronomer of billions and billions and billions of planets in this universe. And that Carl Sagan having a hard time accepting. This happened to be an engineer from an aerospace company, and they had a discussion about the fact that our government had discovered that there were beings that were working under different principles of physics. And Sagan wanted to reject that, but it keeps coming up and over. So it may be that depending on the solar system, depending on the sun, depending on where your proximity is to black holes, that there could be solar systems in which there are planets that are dealing with a completely different set of physical laws, and we think that where we are on Earth is applicable to the entire cosmos as we see it, and that may yet be another problem that humans are having. The Ebens travel interdimensionally. Jacques Vallée and I have talked about this for years, and he did that powerful, valuable book long ago called Dimensions. In the beginning, after A Strange Harvest, 79 to 80, I remember these discussions with Jacques, and that the idea, it was hard. It was very hard to wrap your mind around, we're in this vast universe, how could there be other dimensions beyond this universe? Well, today, I would say, under the category that I like so much, the pressure of fact, that I can at least say to you, I think this is a fact, that we are dealing with intelligences that move in and out of dimensions, and that is part of why they can pop from someplace far away in another dimension or in this universe and be here like that. He said there are many dimensions. I'm sitting at this table in Washington, D.C. in 1985, writing this down. There are many dimensions, 2 of which we might relate to, but there are at least a dozen dimensions that we would not relate to. All Ebens look alike, the society on their planet, and he said, as far as he knew, that the Ebens dealing with the Earth now, their home base is Zeta Reticuli 1 and 2 that came up in the Betty and Barney Hill and many other cases. It doesn't mean that that's where they started out. It just means that our only current knowledge is that the Ebens have some kind of a home planet or base in Zeta Reticuli 1 and 2, the binary solar system. It's 39 light years from Earth. The Ebens brought 5 different humanoid species to this planet Earth a long time ago. Our whole planet is a sociological experiment. That is why they persist in a guardian role behind the scenes. And these are his words, and there are renegades to the Ebens that we call the blonde Swedes. The problem is, if the Ebens go away from Earth, what will happen? They have a computer base inside of our moon and throughout our solar system, 1985 words. Is that sufficient monitoring to keep the blonde Swedes in check? He said, the Swedes have all their menagerie of cloned biological entities. I did an interview with physicist Brian Greene in New York. He teaches at Columbia University and has written some wonderful books. The Elegant Universe is one of them. And he and I did a long interview together, and I said, in the whole context of the evolution of artificial intelligence, which we were talking about, and are we in a computer-based created system? I said, it almost seems inevitable that Cro-Magnon Homo sapien sapien will ultimately be replaced by cyborgs. And Dr. Greene said, yes. And many people find that distressing and frightening. And if that is the way things evolve, I'm perfectly fine with it. I'm not particularly wedded to this biological, organic form in which we currently reside. And if it turns out that this is a stepping stone en route to a form of life and consciousness that resides in digital and a more technologically oriented housing, cyborg, I'm okay with that. In fact, maybe that's the way that we will achieve a kind of immortality.